Well, we've covered the heroes of the story, so might as well cover the villains. Starting off with Scarlet Bennett, she is calm, collected, and smart. She is 29 years old and works with her adoptive father, Alec Muffler, to help create cards in the game that he made called Thera. She first met Alec when she was 4 years old at an orphanage after losing her parents in an accident, and has been loyal to Alec ever since, as he adopted her at that time. She's an incredibly powerful Thera player, of course being close to the person who actually helped create the game, and not to mention the fact that she has a strangely strong affinity with Lady Luck, and chooses to be a guiding point for the main protagonist, so she'll always be driving the characters to reach new heights. Nathan Bond, a character who is pretty much the antagonist version of Aika, is what I like to refer to him as. He's stubborn, loner, serious, and arrogant. Props to you if you can actually guess what his middle name is. Nathan Bond is 22 years old and believes everyone is expendable, choosing to step on others to get ahead in life. Whether it's people or cards, he doesn't care who he tosses away as long as he gets ahead. He hates everyone that's overly passionate and doesn't listen to reason, believing his way is how the world works, quote unquote. I used to hate Nathan a lot because, as I said, he's the antagonist version of Aika. If you remember what Aika's whole thing is, you see how these two are basically polar opposites, and whenever they interacted, I didn't really like writing their story, but towards the very end, I actually really had a lot of fun with Nathan and Aika's interactions, and it actually became one of my favorite, side story things in the show. So, honestly, as much as I don't like him in the beginning, he does actually grow on me a lot, and again, props to you if you can guess what his middle name is. Then we have Mary Bellerose. She's a loner, serious, and angry. Mary Bellerose is actually the youngest out of the entire cast outside of Olivia, with her being 13 years old and a famous idol. After her explosive rise in popularity at only 8 years old, she has barely had any amount of time to herself, causing her to have a deep-seated feeling of anger to anyone she comes across, especially those who think of her as selfish. She hates being called selfish. When she's on stage, she's a nice and happy idol Mary Bellerose that everyone adores. However, when the cameras are off her and she's playing Thera, her true and more violent personality comes to fruition. So Mary has that hidden dark side that is really her real personality that she doesn't get to show off because she always has cameras on her, so she has to show off her quote-unquote fake personality. But Mary's that fun character who, there's an idol, you always have to have an idol in a card game show. There you go. As for Toshi Umezawa, who I genuinely forgot he was the one character who has actual Japanese origins. Serious, compassionate. I say that Hayate Utaka has Japanese origins. We will eventually get to that in this point in the story, but Toshi's the only other one that has actual Japanese origins based off their last names alone. Toshi Umezawa is 23 years old and runs his own gang. Toshi comes from a broken down world where he grew up to protect others, taking from the strong to provide for the weak. Basically, he was a Robin Hood. Due to this, all the kids that he helped out when he was younger have formed a gang around him that are notorious around Japan. Pretty much all of them are orphans to some extent, or if they're not orphans, they are from very poor, broke families. Toshi and his gang are rumored to have committed several crimes, both in Japan but also internationally as well, but they've never been convicted due to a lack of evidence. And as just overall, again, Toshi is, while a serious character because, again, he runs his own gang, so he has to have that tough demeanor to him, he also has a very compassionate side as evidence that, again, he was a Robin Hood type of character that would only take from those who didn't need it and gave it to people who actually did. As for Genesis Mikado, the best word I can use to describe her is happy. Genesis is, quote-unquote, 16 years old and loves to play Thera, being a strong player who excels at the game. She has fun playing against any opponent and gives it everything she has, while also having a very strong connection to her creatures. She's pretty much Hayate, where we've kind of seen Hayate talk to her creatures in battle a little bit. We've also just seen her have a lot of fun when playing the game Thera. Genesis is pretty much the same way. However, one weird fact is whenever she's around, Kyoshi is nowhere to be found. It's just a very interesting coincidence. I don't know why that happened necessarily. I will say this though, I had a lot of fun writing Genesis, and Genesis is probably one of the characters that changed the most when it came to their original writings. Steve and Genesis definitely changed the most because I have notes on what they were supposed to be, and honestly it's very fun seeing how much they've changed in that time span. And finally, of course, our main antagonist, because I'm not going to try hiding that, Alec Muffler. He is wise, he is stubborn, he is arrogant, and he is caring as well. Alec Muffler is 45 years old and old friends with Victor Manami. They knew each other in high school, so at the time that they met, if I remember correctly, Victor Manami was 15 and Alec was 14 because there's a 1-year gap between them, and they were best friends until a very heated argument. There are times where he is arrogant, but his actions are ultimately rooted in compassion. He plans to save the world by any means necessary and possesses a powerful ally who only fuels his ideals. Anorak. We will get to that later, and especially when we dig more into the story, but pretty much all you need to know about Alec is he's going to be the driving force that the characters ultimately have to come across, and there's a lot of development that comes just from him, but also his interactions with Scarlet, because again, he is technically Scarlet's adoptive father. Props on you if you can figure out when Alec actually adopted Scarlet, and even more importantly, his interaction with Victor Minami is very fun, because I remember when I first wrote it, it was not originally planned, and then when I did make it was actually really fun to do. So without further ado, I'm going to this one here. Hope you guys enjoyed these next few episodes of Thera, and let me know, now that you've seen pretty much the whole main cast, both the main characters and the antagonists that go against them, tell me who your favorite character is, who are you excited to see more of, and what more things do you think you want to know before the series continues. So see you all in the next one. Don't forget to check us out.